the show came out and it took off, man. We're getting a lot of love, a lot of people liking the show. So we just ran all around promoting it and all that. So, got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, no, I agree. Me and the wife watched the first 2 episodes and really loving it, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, you enjoyed it?
Yeah, no, I really love the show. I think it's really well done, presents you guys well, and yeah, so
nice. Well,
even though it's got Eddie on it, I mean, I can try to look past that.
Yeah,
Nick makes up for that a little bit, I don't know. Yeah. I like Nick, so
we really enjoy being able to show some love to the forgotten soldiers of the strength athletics.
No, I think it's great. Actually, my wife was asking me, she's like, who are these people that they're referencing? I'm like, these are like, because she's in fitness too, but not like the strength side and doesn't know the history or any of that stuff. So I get to explain the history behind some of those things as the show's going. Yeah. So I love it. So
where it actually came from.
Yep. No, I absolutely love that part of the show because it's definitely doing a great job of paying homage to those really people that brought strength training to the forefront of what we know today. So
right,
yeah,
right, man. Especially like Paul out of Georgia, like he was training when everyone said you shouldn't train. Even football players weren't allowed to train back then.
I know. It's hard to believe. Like, actually, it wasn't even that long ago that the professional sports, and still in some areas, some of the old school coaches are not into that. But but that was a pretty predominant view, was strength training would make you unathletic. So
right, which is almost a counter argument to my deadlift statement.
So, well,
you want to get into it? Talk about it?
Yeah. Let me. I think you can actually share this on your channel too. So there should be a little button somewhere.
How do I do that?
It's a new feature, but there should be a little button somewhere on there that'll allow you to share it on your channel too.
I don't know. I mean, I see like the smiley face, the circle thing, and then your button's up here where it says live. I'm not seeing
try that smiley face thing. See what options pop up there. Somebody just responded. It's on yours already. It's showing on yours already. We're good.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Nice.
They're,
okay.
I'm reading comments. They're saying it's live on your channel too. Okay. Shall we get rolling?
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. Welcome to our IG Live. So Chris Duffin here. I've got Robert Oberst on here, Mr. Strong and Pretty himself. And we're going to discuss the deadlift and maybe some drama around some statements around the deadlift, because people can't seem to grasp, maybe nuance of discussion, but we're going to dive into it. And so for those on Oberst channel that probably have no clue who this Chris Duffin guy is that's interviewing him. So I happen to be the Guinness World Record holder on the cheater deadlift. So
what's the deadlift with a hitch?
No, the sumo one. So a hitch is allowed in strongman. So,
what's more cheating? Is it more cheating to hitch or more cheating to sumo?
I don't know. You tell me. I think
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I think if you're working to be strong, and if you're working to be athletic, be athletic. The rules don't really apply with me.
I agree, because I did mine with straps too, by the way, because because I can't hold 1,000. I can't hold 1,000 pounds. I cheated.
I'm and I get to rep whatever, and I'm tired. I'll start hitching. I'm allowed to do it.
So so you were recently on the Joe Rogan show, and I think somebody pulled your statement, just that singular statement, and kind of maybe out of context. I'm not sure. I actually didn't watch the video that was posted on YouTube or whatever, but it was I think just an excerpt that went on there, and there's been a little bit of ruckus about your statement. So what exactly did you say, Robert? What'd you say?
So the clickbait video was titled "Robert Oberst tells you not to deadlift," and so people lost their minds and didn't even either watch that 2.5 minutes or didn't watch the entire interview or listen to it. And what I said was that most guys were playing professional sports that are high dollar, like NBA, NFL, soccer players, all these athletes that are making millions and millions of dollars. They're not deadlifting because the risk reward ratio is terrible. So and since then, I even rechecked with a bunch of my buddies afterwards because there was a lot of heat on it. So I called up a couple of friends of mine, and out of everyone I know, one of my friends who played, I think it was like 8 years in the NFL. He's done 3 Pro Bowls, one of the highest paid offensive linemen to ever play the game. He told me he deadlifted for 1 week when he was in Atlanta for they were doing like 60, 70 percentile singles. He said they had a new meathead coach that liked them and they were doing explosive stuff. And they did it for 1 week in his entire career. And he said a lot of times they would do side handle deadlifts and stuff like that, but never front bar. So, I went through and I checked, I Googled it and made sure, and I was correct with what I said. But, people just get sensitive, and a lot of people started talking trash, but, it is what it is. People are sensitive, and that's fine.
So I happen to be in a unique position with our company because we do both coaching, education, and equipment for a lot of professional sports teams. So I've been in the clubhouse in the gyms and worked with the coaches of, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Indians, the Cubs, the list goes on and on. Some number of NFL teams, colleges everywhere. We have about 500 colleges as customers. So I think I've got a pretty good grasp of actually what's going on out there. But before I kind of jump into what I see a little bit and discussing that, I'm gonna throw some counterpoints your way. I have, just because I literally have a presentation titled "Deadlifting is Life." And of course, I start the intro. I play the video of gosh darn it, why can't I remember his name? The famous Iceland strongman. Paul, yes, and he stands up with a big heavy deadlift, and he and says,
"There's no reason to be alive if you can't do deadlifts."
There's no reason to be alive if you can't do deadlifts. So there's a little bit of history for you. So you got to argue with him, but. Regardless of whether it makes sense or not for professional athletes, and we'll get into that. My counter position is being able to learn how to, pick something up off the ground is a pretty essential human function. And a lot of it's broken today in people. And it really is about ability to control spinal mechanics under load, right? And this is an essential for any level of athletics. And the deadlift is a pretty much identifier of that now. So, and I stand strong behind that statement. But does that mean you need to max out on deadlifts?
Oh, no,
that's not what I said.
Right. I think I'm getting what you're saying, and a lot of guys have given me that counterpoint, like. You need some work at this type of lift, and I can totally see where with the right numbers, the right rep set, the right weights, all that stuff, where the benefits there. I still firmly believe that it's like side handle would be a million times better.
Side handle, a suitcase deadlift, a farmer's carry. These are actually all the same thing and will work the same patterns, right? So this is where people get stuck because their sport or their methodology or wherever, just the same thing. Like I haven't deadlifted myself since last October. And, it may be a year and a half and I've gone like that long without deadlifting, and I'll come back in the gym and I'll still be able to anytime, any day be able to pull upwards of 800-900 pounds.
Oh, wow.
People are like, how do you do that? Well, the thing is, people kind of miss is like training the deadlift, training the squat, training these sorts of things, the yoke carry, the farmer's carry. All these are what's called axial loaded movements. Downward, we're resisting force driving through our spine downward. And anytime you're developing any sort of tolerance for handling that, we're working, those systems, and we're working our strength and ability to adapt to it. And, it carries over if you actually already know how to do the lift and already have the motor patterns developed.
Definitely.
And I think people, it's because they like when they hear how long I'll go without deadlifting, they really can't grasp it. And I'm definitely not recommending it for somebody that's in like 5 years of training. I've been training for 30 years. So
right. We're not talking about ourselves. And it's the same way with strongmen. Like, we got into Worlds this year, and last minute we find out there's a 1,300-pound yoke. I hadn't done yoke in forever. Jumped in like 2 weeks out and did a couple sets of like 700 pounds. And on the day, I ran with it. Like, it was just what I do, There's like the type of work you put in the gym still strengthens that type of lift. It's just doing something else to actually like build the muscles that you're still like you're still like recruiting. There you go. Still recruiting to use the type of lift. So I know what you're saying. It's crazy that you can still pull 8 to 9. That's fucking gnarly.
So, well, I cheater. I cheater deadlift, so it doesn't really count. I mean, what's an 800-pound deadlift when it's sumo? It's not really lifting anything. Yeah. So, let's be honest.
I want anybody who says that, I want to see them pull 800, 900 pounds. Like,
well, here's the funny thing. I love it.
And they have an argument against it. Then it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying. It's not the same thing, and your statement is valid. But if you pull 300 pounds and you're complaining about someone who pulls 9, you shut the fuck up and go back to the gym. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's because I actually rarely ever pull the conventional just because I've had some disc injuries in the past. And the positioning for me to get, here's the other thing people don't grasp is, like, why is a deadlift a deadlift? Why does it just so happen that the bar is exactly that height? A barbell, because a plate is at 18 7/8 inches diameter. That's what they're designed on. And they just happen to be that. There was no scientific reason that somebody designed a plate that size. And so that's where the height of a bar happens. So for me, and I know this is the same way with a lot of strongmen because of their mass and stuff, you can see you guys struggling to get into position on the start, right? And sometimes that spine is a little bit compromised. And so when I do deadlift, I deadlift very frequently because if I'm deadlifting, I'm doing it for a goal. I've got something coming up that I'm trying to do, right? And so I've only conventional deadlift like maybe every 1 to 2 years. I'll do a workout. But I love it when people get online and they're like, I'll bet you can't pull like 500 pounds conventional. I'm like, well, actually, with no training, I pulled 905 conventional. So, yeah. That kind of shuts people up really, really fast.
Strong is strong, man. Strong is strong. What's crazy is like there's a lot of disconnect too in how people set up for deadlift. Like I only started deadlifting when I started strongman. In football, we did hang cleans and power cleans. That's all I ever did. So I've only been deadlifting now for like 5.5, 6 years. And it's taken until about like 6, 7, 8 months ago that I've been traveling and working with Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall and Nick Best that I've actually found my form that suits me. And it's compared to anybody else, it's not your form. It shouldn't be. Because like I'll almost snatch grip it. I have my shoulders that far in front of the bar at the start. And then I also have a little bit of a round in the bottom. And for some reason, that position with a little bit of roundness makes the pressure go from low back to upper back. And like I feel when I'm pulling now, I finally feel like I'm using hamstrings, glutes, and my upper back. And my low back, I pulled the day and I feel fucking great. And for years after I pull, I'd have to lay down for like 15, 20 minutes and be able like have to drive home in pain.
You make some points that I really want to drive home to people here, because you said, here's my form, and it's not what anybody else should be doing. I actually happen to be in New York doing a deadlift seminar is what I just got done doing. And I love doing this all the time, because I'll look at the crowd and I'll be like, here's, your foot position should be in this range. Your hand position should be in this range for a conventional deadlift. And I explain why with the levers and stuff like that. And I say, oh, by the way, the other 5 people that pull over 1,000 pounds all use a wider stance than me, and they're using a stance that I tell you not to use.
Right.
But I'm like, and then I look around the crowd and I'm like, they're all 400 pounds and about 7 foot. Oh, yeah. That's not any of you.
Right.
So don't use that as your excuse to copy their technique, because what they're doing is based on their physiology, which is very different than the rest of the 99.9% of the population.
Right.
Guess what? They have significant issues getting to the ball, being able to actually get in position for the setup. And you actually have to do some things that are not, that are counterproductive, but allow you to get there just because of your size. And they kind of put you in bad position, but there's no other way out of it. So
right. And somehow being in that bad position is still it still pulls from the right muscle groups. I tried really hard to have a tighter feet, tighter hands. I really, the person I looked up to watching in deadlift was Misha Koklayev.
Mm-hmm.
I loved watching him deadlift, and even though he was an Olympic lifter, I still thought I could still get as tight as he was. It's just no fucking way for me. My upper body is significantly longer than my lower body. I've got a huge barrel chest, and there's just no getting down there like that. And when I was doing it, I was so stiff, it was all low back.
I heard you also have the strongest shoulders in America.
Not anymore. Actually,
no, I know I got beat. Who?
Robert Kearney has the strongest jerk in America, but I still believe I have the strongest shoulders.
Okay.
And taking all that aside, we're gonna get a chance. I'm thinking it's in January, where we get to bang for the world record, the American record, and between Robert Kearney, myself, and Brian Shaw put his hat in the ring. He said he wants to come out and take it from us. So the 3 of us are gonna bang, and we'll see who comes out.
He looked pretty good on that episode 2, but your press on that look was so smooth and fast too.
Yeah.
But I was Shaw's was pretty damn. He's so strong in the overhead.
Well, I will guarantee that whatever the American record is now will be broken. I can't tell you how much it's going to be broken by, though.
I fully believe that.
Yeah. So when everybody's stronger and everybody's pushing forward, and a lot of good momentum is coming into strength athletics right now. It feels good. It feels really good.
Yeah. So what is your best deadlift, by the way?
I thought my best was a 400 kilo I did at my first international show, but I was actually told that it didn't count. So
did you lift it or not?
I'd have to go back and watch the video. I guess okay. I didn't lock it, is what I've been told. Whenever I have these issues, I refer to Cale Beck, because between concussions and bong smoke, I have no memory. So it's all, I refer to Cale, and I'll text him 3 times a week, hey, what was my record for this thing? And it's basically, I have a horrible memory. And so we do, I've done 380 for reps, and I pulled it at Worlds this year, and it was I was in a position where I was doing very well, so I only had to pull 1 rep, and I did very easily. I could have pulled a few more, but that's my best. And the first time at Worlds, I didn't zero the deadlift. It's my deadlift has grown so much because of the work I've done with the guys, and because it sounds like a lot of guys talk trash, but a lot of butt exercises, a lot of ab exercises, and just learning how to incorporate my hamstrings and butt into the lift. I never ever did that before. And you feel weird trying to figure out a way to do your hamstring and butt stuff, and even saying butt stuff, when you're in the gym. But it's fucking important. It's saved my low back.
So, damn it, Robert, you need to drive up and see me sometime. We should work on your deadlift a little bit and see where else we can go with it. Cause, you're not that well. You spend a lot of time in Texas. Are you still spending time in Redmond too, or you moved to Tech? I I lose track because you're always
I'm
bouncing
all
around.
over. I'm a gypsy, man. I have been since I was a kid. So right now I've got a spot in Texas and I got a spot in Boise.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying you should come over and see me then sometime. You know where I'm at. And
You're
what's that?
Where are you? You're in Oregon?
Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah. We're pretty close to where you are sometimes. So sometimes.
We're going to make that happen. But in this offseason, I've got max deadlift coming up. The next two shows I've got Manchester, where I'll be doing 350 kilos for reps. And I plan on proving my point again that I'm much better at deadlifting than I was. It's a weakness that I've been attacking, like, ferociously. And also, when I tore my bicep, I had to focus on it because I couldn't do anything. And then, so Manchester, 350 for reps, September 7th. And October 25th in Dubai, we have a max deadlift. And I'm going to find out what I got.
I'm excited, especially seeing, like, a 380 for reps or a 400 not quite locked out, if that was the case, is definitely no schlepping deadlift, on the deadlift. That's no schlep on the deadlift by any means the case. Now, you're in the class of some pretty fucking crazy deadlifters right now, though. What the guys are,
right.
What they're doing is just insane. How many people are pulling that heavy right now.
I was told I had no, I've been told I had a horrible deadlift, first of all, and then I've been told, everyone who says that also deadlifts like 300 pounds, but
I was thinking the same thing. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, I'm like, so anyone saying that your deadlift sucks, it has never pulled over 800 pounds or anywhere close to it. So,
like, compared to where I'm at with everything else, my deadlift is lacking. Like, when I get into the finals at Worlds, it always pisses me off that I'm fighting with one arm tied behind my back. But it's something I've built and grown with, and now it's not the hole that it used to be. It's not where it's going to be, but it's not the hole that it used to be.
Okay. So definitely this off season, you need to come spend some time with me. So I've worked with several people to over a 900-pound deadlift that are, a fraction of the size that you guys are. So, yeah. So speaking of that 400, I just got to brag a little bit, because there was this time last year, I deadlifted 400 kilograms every single fucking day. It's worth swearing about for 17 days. Now, the 17th day, I did detach a hamstring. So, I challenge anybody in the world to try to duplicate that.
Yeah. Oh man, that sounds like a torn hamstring.
Yeah, I knew I was going into it. The goal was 30 days, but I'm like, the back of my head, I was like, you're not doing this. You know that you're going to injure yourself. Don't know what the injury is going to be yet.
Right.
But just get as far as you can. I was hoping it was going to be lesser than what that injury was, but as you know, you got to be okay with that stuff doing what we do. It's at the peak level. I definitely don't recommend that for, it is a training perspective. Like, you should be training to be healthy,
right,
and live long and make you additive to your life, good. Which gets right back to this discussion that we're having and why. So I didn't get into it yet. All the teams that I go into, you're right. They don't deadlift. They do trap bar deadlifts.
Yes.
Usually at the higher level, because again, there's no reason for them to get that low. And particularly because most of the athletes in the NBA and the MLB, particularly, not as much as in the NFL, have really long limb lengths, torsos, right, and can't get in a good position to pull the bar off the floor. Just like you see them. I love this. People trash talk some of these pro basketball players when they see a squat, and they're like, they're not squatting to death. I'm like, well, they could if they had a transformer bar. Let me say that, because we could fix the spinal mechanics. But a standard back squat, these people are not built. They'll never be able to get in that position because they're freaks. They're not able to do that.
Making millions and millions of dollars to shoot a ball through a hoop.
So
why do they care about squatting to depth? They want to be better basketball players.
No. But they do need to develop those qualities and skills, but it's not the only way to get there. And there's not some magic about a certain set depth for non-barbell sport people. Just like, so again, a trap bar deadlift, the farmer's carry, a suitcase carry, or a suitcase deadlift. Honestly, these are all working the same qualities. And what are those qualities? That's to be able to stabilize your torso and your spine against an axial load, okay? And that's going to help resist them and make them more robust. If you take a jump and land really hard on the court, or again, take an impact on the field, like these are the things. And so that's I skipped over that, kind of get towards the end of the discussion, but that's what I see across the board amongst all these top professional teams and the top colleges that I'm in their weight rooms. I see their coaches, I talk with them, I work with them, and guess what? I sell them trap bars.
Yes. Yeah.
And I will teach them to deadlift. But this is something, those qualities must be developed. And I think that, so where people are probably coming from is, seeing that statement and saying that doesn't matter, but they're thinking that's the only way to develop those qualities. Yeah. It's sorry, somebody was trying to call me. Question is a hex bar the same as trap bar? Yes, those are the same things. So I'm answering a question on the stream there.
There's a question. Yeah. This Deadlifts Are Not a Crime is available at the link in my bio for the next 72 hours.
I love that. I just saw that shirt earlier. So deadlifts are not a crime. And by the way, and you were talking about, and you've said this in some of your posts, but it'd be a good time to say this again. Do you have deadlifts in the training programs that you do for people?
I haven't done training programs for a while.
Okay.
But when I do them, most of the people I do them for are training to be strongmen. Most of the people. So if I have somebody, I have worked with I worked with a guy who was 46 and was just, trying to get back into shape, trying to feel good. And for him, I did farmer's picks, hex bar deadlifts, even dumbbell, like farmer carries the deadlifts on the side with not going all the way around and stuff. Like, I just don't see, like, the risk isn't worth it for a guy like that. And if he would have told me, like, hey, I like deadlifts, I'll put him in. If anybody likes deadlifts, I'm not saying don't do them. Like, I do a bunch of shit that's wrong for me just because I like doing it all the time. Mm-hmm. Did that 400 deadlifts for 17 days, 400 kilo deadlifts for 17 days. You knew it was silly, but you wanted to do it. And this is America. We get to do what we want.
It is. I have this discussion a lot because people are like, they'll see some of the stuff I do and they think it's like a training style or something. And they're like, how'd that affect you? And I'm like, or why do you do like this certain exercise that you're doing? And my answer is because I like to. And they're like, but because they're expecting some like big science. I'm like, you realize if you just stick, and I see this a lot with like people like in the grind, like early powerlifters or early strongman, whatever, where people are so set and so rigid with their training from comp to comp to comp to comp that they'll end up burning out because it just gets boring and old and stale and you burn out. And you gotta have time. It wasn't Misha. There was another, maybe it was Misha that says it, but it's like, you gotta have a time for the soul. You've got to have they're like this portion of training is for the soul. What does that mean? That means spending time just doing stuff that's fun. And you gotta be in the grind. When you've got a show coming up, you better be fucking focused and have your stuff together. But people miss that and they just like think that it's the big three all year round, all the time. Right. And it's like they're like, why are you doing one arm? Why are you doing one arm snatches? What does that help to build? I'm like, it's fun.
Yeah.
I just want to do it for a while. Because I see what I can do. Like, that's it.
Never even tried it. If you're having fun, then keep doing your thing. That's basically it. I think the more people we can show, like the strength world or the fitness world, whatever you want to call it, the more people we can get off the couch and into the gym, the better. I don't give a fuck if they're walking on the treadmill or they're deadlifting max weight every day. Like, whatever the fuck you got to do to get the couch and in the gym, I totally 100% support it.
Do you have kids, Eddie? Or do you have kids, Robert?
I have a 3-year-old. Yeah, it's all right. I've got a 3-year-old little boy.
Nice. I always get it's kind of annoying almost, but people will come in and they see my kids and they're like, "Oh, future powerlifters," and I'm like, no, like future whatever. I'm like, I don't. It's like, don't you want them to powerlift? I'm like, I want them to be active. I don't care if it's gymnastics or yoga or running marathons or being a swimmer.
Right.
Something.
Always get the
something is a requirement. But doing the exact same thing that I do, like I have no desire for that. I actually don't even want to see that, like that
exactly
means there's not enough like really exploring for themselves.
Yeah.
Or maybe I had a purposeful influence on them. So it's actually, I feel almost the opposite, that somehow I've failed if they end up doing the exact same things I've done myself.
Well, at this point, like people say that to me all the time. And I swear to God, I hope he does something that pays better, first of all. Other than that, like, I just want him to have fun. I want him to challenge himself. Like, I always tell him, I don't care if it's chess or ballet or strongman, football, if he wants to play soccer or he wants to be a doctor or a dentist. Like, as long as he pushes himself to be the best at that, I'm all fucking for it. I don't that stuff's weird how, like it's like that old high school football dream that the guy has. So he has a son that he's like trying to make him into the next high school football star. I got none of that. None of it.
And that's
Before
exactly
we go,
what I refer to.
I want to ask you, how is it living in a communist city? What is that like? Like you're not allowed to talk there, right? Like you guys basically, if you disagree with the masses, you'll get hit with bike locks or something, right?
It's actually not bad at all. It's actually really great because they make amazing beer, whiskey, ciders, and food. So you just ignore anything else because I really don't care about politics. I don't even vote. And I enjoy the output of that, which helps me with my fatty gains. Trust me, the food is amazing and the drinks are amazing. And that's what it's, and we're going to go explore this when you come to visit. I'm going to take you to some great places because I know you love fatty gains. I've seen you eat, like you know how it's done.
I'm a donut whore. Donuts and coffee. I'm a whore.
Yeah. We're the cornerstone of great donuts. You know that, right?
Yeah. Really?
Yes.
I know you guys are good coffee. I didn't know you guys were killer donuts.
Oh, donuts. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I'm going to take you to the best donuts you've ever had in your life. And no, it's not Voodoo. It's not Voodoo Donuts, which everybody thinks about when they come to Portland. So
Voodoo's the tourist donut shop. I've got a donut shop that's 2 blocks from here that this old Vietnamese lady runs. She's been running it for like 40 years. And she's up there at 2 a.m. making them by hand. And every day, like, I'll go by there, and they're just the best donuts I've ever had. And it's some shop nobody's ever heard of.
So, yeah, I agree with you. They're just overrated. And there's a lot of donut places all over the place that are way better.
Yes. Well, they're okay. Donut's a donut. It's like sex and pizza and donuts. You know, that one's a good one.
That's hilarious.
I
have to say, when I posted, you've got some entertaining people that follow you because the questions, I wish I'd written them down because I can't see them now.
Oh, yeah.
But there's such great questions that people had for you. Like normally when I have somebody to talk to, they're, just straight up like, kind of science information based. I didn't get a lot of that on you. They were just damn hilarious stuff. So
yeah, that's the thing is I've got a really cool, I don't know how you would even put it. Like, I feel like I know most of them because they all have like unique comments that they always put, and then I'll talk back. And like, I talk a lot of trash. They like to do it back and forth. And it's become like this like weird circle of weirdness. Like, I don't even think we talk about lifting on my page ever.
Just butt stuff. There's a lot of requests going through my feed here for a whiskey and butt stuffs, a deadlift and butt stuffs shirt, and all sorts of other butt stuff shirts, by the way.
Butt stuff is by far number 1. Then it goes to donuts number 2. So
okay.
If you can do donuts and butt stuff, you're recruiting a lot of people there.
I got a chub, thinking about that. So, Uh,
Butt stuff equals chub.
butt stuff and donuts is definitely
Well,
chub worthy.
can we do donuts, butt stuff, then more donuts?
We could do that for sure.
Perfect.
Yes.
Nice. Shit, I haven't even seen any of these.
Can you see any of the comments rolling through on yours?
Yeah, I haven't been looking. What you meant from the beginning on the deadlifts. Hey, if you guys didn't get to hear what we said about the deadlifts, we're gonna put these up and you'll be able to see it.
Yep, we're saving this and it'll be posted. So, yeah.
Did I Eddie with the picture likes? Yeah, if you guys saw episode 2, I had to drink out of his shoe and it was gross.
Oh my God, that was disgusting. You were the man for actually standing up and doing that.
I believe in that shit, man. I don't believe in going back on your word, even when it's that gross.
So my question was, though, the usual, that means that this has been done before, or were you just using code word, you know?
No, that's the usual. That's the usual.
So,
And this guy here, Graham says England has the best donuts. When I was in England, I got unlucky, man. I believe you guys probably have some stuff, but that hipster coffee shit. First, the donuts. England, when I was there, I didn't get lucky. All I found was a Dunkin' Donuts, and it was terrible.
I have trouble believing that there's any good food coming out of England, honestly. Just not buying it.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
All the coffee I've had there is so thick you could chew it. Oh, we got butt stuff and butt stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. People giving me shit because you called me Eddie.
I should have dropped that a few times during this. That would have been.
Yeah.
They're not said anything.
Hey, in history, strongest man in history. By the way, if you guys aren't following them, we have a page for the TV show now where they put a whole bunch of videos and clips out that don't make the episode. A lot of times the stuff that I think is the funniest, which is like the more crass stuff, doesn't make the episode. And it end up on their YouTube page or on the Instagram channel. And if you're not seeing us on Wednesday nights, 10 Eastern, then check that stuff out because a lot of people are loving it. We're having fun, and it actually has been really helpful to the sport. I'm not going to go through the list of people that have been grateful for it, but it's been good.
Nice. Well, I'm definitely going to check that out myself. And for those that don't, you can also, if you don't want to hit that exact timing, you can stream it. I can't remember where I've been streaming it at, but it's, on Roku, Amazon, Hulu, something on there. Search it, go find it, and you can play any of the episodes that have aired.
And what's your website so my people can see it?
What's that?
Your website so my
website. Kabuki Strength. Well, you can't really see my shirt. KABUKI Strength.com. We have the best trap bars in existence, by the way.
That's what you should be using because
amazing deadlift education, by the way. So click on coaching and education and go to the movement library. So if you've been following Robert, clearly you don't know how to deadlift. And so you'll have to come to us for that. So, just saying. So I just got to know, I think remember it was the first or second episode. Brian Shaw is getting really cranky from lack of food. Is that does that pop up?
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, he was saying he was going to, and I was like, oh, he's just joking. And then like you could see him when he was ice fishing, he was getting agitated.
He's not joking. Definitely not. Brian will get crazy, and I call him Debo because when he gets crazy, he reminds me of Debo from Friday. And like it's fucking scary. Brian's big. Like Brian's got me by almost 50 pounds. And so like when I remember we did this scene in the pool and he was like flexing like pissed, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like he's fucking scary. When he's hungry, you don't want to fuck with him.
He's got that deadpan stare too, that adds some extra scary in there. So.
Yeah. And that man's not afraid of anything either, and that also gives it the edge, So he can scare the living shit out of you if he wanted to.
So speaking of, I was working around all these coaches and stuff. I was speaking to a coach that Brian used to intern for at some old college. And he was telling me stories about when Brian was like, in his early 20s or whatever, and was like wanting to be like the best strongman, but he wasn't. Like, he was just getting started. And he was talking about Brian had no money because he was, you know, working as an intern making. And he's like, every day Brian would come in with like this big giant cooler, and he'd break out, because he was dirt cheap. He'd have a whole French roll, and he'd fill it with the cheapest deli meats that he could find, and he'd be sitting there with a giant French roll every day, eating that for his sandwich. Just got like, probably not much has changed except for the quality of the food.
He always carries these big thermoses full of rice and meat. He's always got 3 or 4 of them on him. So we'll be sitting in the car waiting for production to take us to food, and Brian will be eating before he goes to eat.
I love it. I got to learn these skills. I'm trying to bulk up myself right now, and I'm being a little unsuccessful.
Yeah,
so,
well, Brian knows how to do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got any other words? I think we've covered a lot of ground in a pretty damn short period of time, man.
It was good. Fun talking to you.
Yeah, it was a really good conversation. So,
yeah, I hope everybody got their questions answered other than the butt stuff. So,
well, we'll do another episode on butt stuff specifically in the future, maybe when you come visit. So,
yes, good
there was a recommendation that we film from a strip club. So, which, you know, we have strip clubs with really great food here in Portland too, by the way. So, just saying.
Like the Thunder Down Under guys, right?
No, we're gonna skip that one.
Cool, brother.
All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'm really, really happy with the conversation, Robert, because actually deadlifting is not a crime, but we covered a lot of really useful topics for people that I think they can put to use too. So yeah, awesome stuff.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you.